Okay, how's everybody doing today? I wanted to come on live. I was on live. Actually, I taped it yesterday, but I wanted to go live. I haven't gone live in a long, long time. So I want to talk a little bit about this idea. I think the title of this video is the dollar failing or is Bitcoin failing? Because there's some interesting things going on, and I want to talk about it a little bit. I haven't talked about Bitcoin for a while. I just made a video about that. I haven't talked about it for a while because it's sideways trading. And when things are sideways trading, they're not that fun to talk about or to even to go into discuss. So I haven't really made a lot of information about it, but there's something happening. And I've said this in my videos, that something is happening. And I started researching a little bit today, and it looks like the dollar's in trouble. And we know the dollar's in trouble. This is very simple. This is not complicated stuff. Everybody tries to make it complicated. It's not complicated. It's incredibly simple. Like I've said in some of my videos, I've known this stuff for 40 years, since I read a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. He exposes the Federal Reserve. That's way before the internet. And, we didn't know that stuff. Even though I was a broker and I was been to college and all that good stuff, I didn't know any of this stuff. It was all brand new stuff. And that was the 1990s. But we knew, those who knew that this was going to happen. This was inevitable. It's like gravity. You throw something in the air, it comes back to the ground. That's the way this is. This is inevitable. It's happening, and it's happening right now. I didn't know when it was going to happen. I didn't know how many years it would take for it to happen, but it's happening, and it's happening right now. So what's going on, and I'm going to read this article because it's a pertinent article, and it has a lot to do with what's going on here today. So let me just make sure I'm live here. Let me get this a little bit. Yeah, I'm live. Okay, good. Bring it back up. Okay. Don't want to talk to myself for an hour here. I've done that before. You kind of forget some of these controls, how to run them. So it says, strap in, serious $40,000 Bitcoin crash warning issued as Fed suddenly braced for a US dollar crisis that predicted to spark the total collapse. So like I said, what's collapsing, Bitcoin or the US dollar? Sounds like the US dollar. Bitcoin, it's off 2% today, and crypto prices have surged this year as a dollar index falls to year-to-date lows. The Bitcoin price is trading around 60,000 per Bitcoin, up from January lows of under 40, as traders bet a fresh injection of liquidity by the Federal Reserve will put Bitcoin and crypto markets on the cusp of a major move. They don't say if it's going up or going down. It sounds like they're saying maybe going down. Now, as China gears up to drop a Bitcoin price bombshell, fears are swirling to the U.S. is on the verge of a total collapse. U.S. dollars on the verge of a total collapse, setting up the Bitcoin price for a critical tipping point. That's what I made a video about that an hour or two ago. And there's the genius himself, Jerome Powell. The U.S. dollar index hit a new low, and it's actually still relatively high, but it looks like it's on the verge of a total collapse. Economists and gold bull Peter Schiff. Well, we know Peter Schiff. He's always going to be negative about the dollar and that. So the index could easily sink below 90 before year-end, challenging the 2020 low. Schiff, the founder of money manager Euro Pacific Asset Manager and a Bitcoin and crypto critic, yeah, he's saying this because he wants gold to go up, and he's thinking Bitcoin's going to go down. But I think he's going to see that Bitcoin will go up in this kind of environment. We're going to talk about this kind of environment. I think the low will be breached 2025, triggering U.S. dollar crisis, crashing the economy, and sending consumer prices and long-term interest rates soaring. That's what I think is going to happen. Powell sitting there up in Wyoming, Jackson Hole, saying that they're going to be a cut. And then that's what I said about this a little bit earlier in my video. This reminds me of 2020. We had the same problem. They had a dollar crisis going on in 2020. And what did they do? All of a sudden, we had the pandemic. And then when the pandemic hit, then all bets were off. The government could drop as much money as they wanted to drop because the economy shut down. And so they just massively printed money. And guess what? That's come into play. And now we all have, $2 million, $3 million homes out here in Southern California that are shacks. I'm telling you, shacks, and they're $3 million. And same thing up in Orange County and Newport Beach and all these places. You got dump houses that are costing $3 million. In fact, tear down houses cost $3 million if they're on the right piece of land. And that's why I was talking about tiny homes yesterday. So this is a crazy, crazy thing. Last month, federal trials during the annual economic symposium of central bankers at Jackson Hole, stuck a dovish tone and queued up a September interest rate cry, driving the U.S. dollar, or driving down the U.S. dollar. It's been a tough summer for the greenback, Neil Rauti, analyst for investment stock. Recently as April, dollar dominance looked unstoppable as its price soars almost all global currencies, now at 2024 low against the euros, pound, and yen. The Federal Open Market, FOMC, July meeting minutes had earlier revealed policymakers are more dovish than previously thought, suggesting interest rates could come down sharply after rocketing to 23-year highs at a historical pace through the Biden administration as inflation spirals to highs not seen since the 1980s. That's correct. And I was in the 1980s. I saw those incredible, and I saw what it did to, it just devastated the farming community. I mean, when I was farming back there, every other neighbor was going out of business. You go down the road, one of them was having a farm sale. Another one would be okay. Then three more would be having farm sales. I think there was a road that I farmed on, and every farm, it was like 5, 6, 7, 8 miles along this road. Every farm on that road, every single farmer was going out of business, having farm sales. This was the early 1980s. It was horrible, horrible times. The Fed is now widely expected to kick off a rate-cutting cycle at its two-day monetary policy meetings on September 17th. I was waiting for the September 17th thing because I thought that was going to rally Bitcoin. There are now speculations interest rates might come faster than initially projected. As many as 100 basis points could be knocked off the current rates by the end of the year. This will cool down dollar expectations for the rest of 2024, but it's worth keeping a close eye on how other central bankers react. That all-important rate gap, the difference in interest rates between countries, could be the driver of some significant currency volatility over the coming months. Strap in for what could be a bumpy ride. In Europe, the European Central Bank and the UK Bank of England are both expected to further cut rates after beginning loosening cycles in recent months, while questioning remained over the Bank of Japan after it caused a global market meltdown when it surprised traders with an interest rate hike in July. Meanwhile, the Bitcoin price has lost the momentum it built up through the first half of 2024, casting doubt over its performance through the rest of the year. While we remain optimistic about digital assets, mid to long-term prospects, the current evidence calls for caution. The chief executive of 10 Research noted. Although the market experienced near V-shaped rebounds following dips in early May and July and August, the underlying market structure and fundamentals have progressively weakened. As a result, each dip has become deeper and subsequently recoveries have been more subdued. The latest end-of-month data indicates that we may be nearing a critical tipping point in September marked by a decline in demand. So this is what's going on is that, and it's a simple thing, like I mentioned earlier. They have printed so much money that they can't stop printing money. It's impossible. Forget about tax cuts. Forget about government stop spending money. Forget about all that. They're going to continue to spend. They have to. If they don't continue to spend, this system will collapse. So what happened in 2020 was they needed some event to take place so they could print massive amounts of money without ruining the markets. And actually to have a secondary cause for printing that money, which was the pandemic. I think something like that could occur very soon in the very near future. They need to throw a lot of money into this system. A lot of money. More money than we've ever heard of before. More money than quantitative easing. More money than all the things that they do combined. They're going to have to do more or this thing is going to collapse. 100% it's going to collapse. It can't keep going the way it's going on because it's like anything. You know, the more money out there, the more money needs to be out there. That's just the way it works. The higher prices are, and as the economy continues to function, you have to raise prices on everything. Well, if you raise prices on everything, there has to be more liquidity. There's got to be more money available. And it just isn't there right now. That's why everything's tightening. That's why people can't afford things, but at the same time, prices are going higher. People can't buy, houses. They can't buy cars. They can't buy anything. I watched the YouTube videos about the auto industry, how that's falling apart. They can't buy anything, but then things are getting higher. And then the other thing going on is people have to continue to build and hire people in this inflationary time. So they're going to have to pump a bunch of money into the system, a bunch of money. And how they're going to do it, I don't know. They did it in 2020 with the pandemic. What they're going to do now, I have no idea. But it's going to be big time. You're going to see big money pumped in this system because they have to. They're at a crunch. They're at a critical point. They're at a real friction point. And the friction point is they can't really raise interest rates. They raise interest rates, it's gonna cause more problems in the economy. And plus, I think you got treasury bills that have to be refinanced, because I think Yellen did short-term treasury bills. So those will all be coming due. So they can't really raise these rates too much, or it's going to bankrupt really bankrupt the country, because they can't afford the interest payments on the debt. Not that they're even making them, but you can't do that. So they got to continue to pump more money into the system, and this is why I mentioned this. This is why I'm making this video, because I forgot to mention this when I was making the video along the coast. Remember when Ben Bernanke said that he would drop money from helicopters before he let this markets fall, or before he let there not to be any liquidity? Well, here's what I was talking about. This is from Google. It says key takeaways. This is from the money quote of Ben Bernanke about the helicopters. Helicopter drop, an idea economist Milton Friedman, is a type of monetary stimulus that injects cash into the economy as if it were thrown out of helicopters. Helicopter money refers to increasing a nation's money supply through more spending, tax cuts, or boosting money supply. Well, they can't do the spending tax cuts. They're going to have to boost the money supply. It's inevitable. It's like breathing. You got to get that next breath of air. If you don't get that next breath of air, you're going to die. Well, that's the way this economy is. If it doesn't get that next bunch of money, it's going to die. And it's just there's no way for them, if they throw so much money at this stuff right now, the way it's sitting right now, how do you get that much money into the economy? The only way they got it in last time is they shut the economy down and just flooded it with money. They just shut everybody down. Something I never thought could possibly happen, where you could literally shut the whole world down and then just pump it full of money so you could get enough money so everything could keep going. Well, we're still in that cycle, and it's gotten a lot worse. And now they have to figure out another way to do this. So something big is getting ready to happen. And mark my words, they're going to have another big something big is going to happen, to where they can pump a ton of money into the system, or this thing will not go much longer. That's all there is to it. I appreciate you watching. Thanks. Oh, by the way, if you want to help the channel out, I put some Amazon links below. Check them out. If you want something on Amazon, let me know, and I'll put a link in the descriptions. I'd rather get Amazon affiliate, and it doesn't cost you any more money. It's just you come from a different location. It's just like you're coming from this channel rather than going straight to Amazon. It's the same price. It's just that since it's coming from here, where it's just they just give somebody, and almost everything on Amazon is affiliate connected. So that's all there is to it. So yeah, if you want something from Amazon, let me know. I could put in the comments. I'll put a link for it in the description. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.